I went into the military as a accounting and finance specialist, and so I started off in accounting and went to started doing budget. So really, when people ask me what I did in the Air Force, I told them I flew a desk. When I retired from the military, they had you fill out the form, for to apply for disability, and I never really did anything with it. And people were telling me, well, you have to apply and keep going back. And so I did apply after maybe about 5 years or so, after I was already out. And so when I did apply, I had some major surgery while I was in the Air Force over in Korea. I playing basketball. Somebody kicked me in my knee, knocked my kneecap on the side of my leg, and that ended my basketball. But anyhow, I had some major reconstruction on my knee, so I thought maybe this would, get me a pretty decent disability. Wrong. I got 10%, and I was like, forget this, And everybody said, well, as you go through, and you talking to other vets, and they're telling you, they getting 80%, 100% here and there. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. And so anyhow, a friend of mine had introduced me to Trajector, said that, they had gotten a lot of good information about Trajector, getting people their benefit. Like in a 12-month period, they were getting them to 100%. And I knew some of these people that had Trajector that did this for. And so I said, well, let me look into this, because I mean, what can it hurt? All I'm getting is 10%. It won't hurt nothing. And lo and behold, I've been getting that 10% for about 13 years. And mainly the reason I didn't want to keep going back and forth, because I knew it was a game, and you need to know how to play the game. You got to know how to talk the talk. And I didn't know any of that. And so that's why I didn't want to even get involved with it, because I knew I didn't know how to play the game. I didn't know how to talk the talk. When I submitted my claim with Projector, and they did the write up, I could see how the reason why people were, Trajector was so successful, because I could see how the write ups were connecting the dots with my situation to other people that had gotten approved in the past. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They took me from 10% when I enrolled, I think in February of last year, and I was at 80% before the end of the year last year. So they took me from 10% to 80%. I'm definitely grateful. I mean, having that kind of support gives you confidence that something positive. It has a potential of some type of positive outcome. There's no way I could have done that on my own. No way. It was pretty exciting when I got that. And the last increase I got went from 50 to 80%. And I was actually over in the Philippines at the time. My wife is Filipino. We were over there visiting her family over there in September, and that's when I got the jump from 50 to 80%. And I mean, that was like a right on time type of thing, because being over there in the Philippines and stuff, and having that, those funds drop in your account like that, was like, wow, this was unexpected. So anyhow, since that time, I pretty much adjusted to the regular increase, every month now. Well, of course, positive. But one of the things is, COVID really interrupted, a lot of people's lifestyles, right? And so, for me, I actually lost my job, because the company I worked for could not survive COVID. And so, this is when I pivoted in 2020 to go full time in my business. And so that was tough, the initial, starting a business, trying to, those early days, those early years actually, pretty tight. And so it caused me to really go into a lot of debt. you know, just trying to get that business off the ground. And so by getting that increase for the disability has really helped to bridge the gap, uh, from month to month, just, as I'm continuing to grow my business. So, um, it helps in the point that it alleviates going into more debt. So honestly, the way I looked at it is that without you, I'd be sitting at 10%. So whatever you got me, you deserved it. You know, you deserve whatever your fee was. So I didn't sweat that, the fact that you were, charging me, because I knew I didn't have the know-how, I didn't have the skill set to make this happen. So working with you guys to make it happen. And yes, of course, I mean, there's is a cost to that, So honestly, I felt that, whatever the fee was that you were charging me, you deserved it. And, once the fee was behind me, that was it. I could rely on whatever the increase was, is mine from that point on. So anyhow, that's the way I looked at it. I know I couldn't have gotten here without you.